Good afternoon, everybody. This is a special July 4th weekend edition of the weekly briefing. I'm going to be telling you about everything that's going on not only today, but right on through the weekend, Friday, the 4th of July, and then on into Sunday. So let's start out with today briefly. We already have some storms moving into extreme North Georgia, and we expect that trend to continue right on through the rest of the afternoon hours and into the evening. Best chances of severe weather are going to be across the northern tier from roughly the I-16 corridor northward, with the best chances across extreme North Georgia. Could be some damaging winds, hail up to 1 inch, of course some locally heavy rainfall with all this activity. We're seeing some thunderstorms across extreme North Georgia lining up, indicating some potential for some minor flooding, so we're going to be especially watching that for this afternoon. So just to give you an idea for comparison what's going on today versus what we're going to have over the next few days, giving you this map that shows how wet the atmosphere is, how much moisture there's available to work with, and this moisture is what we need to fuel the storms. And as you can see, the dark purples here indicate where we have the highest moisture content, and then consequently the most moisture to fuel these storms, so the most fuel to get these storms going each and every, not only in the afternoon but during the morning hours. And you can see it's all over North Georgia and most of central Georgia, going all the way down the I-75 and then I-16 corridor. So just a lot to work with for today, and we'll see how that compares to the next several days. So here's Friday. You can see some of the drier air, which is indicated in the blues and the blacks, over Alabama, but over our area we're still stuck in this wet pattern, and it's pretty much the same areas there again. All of North Georgia, and then stretching down the I-75 and I-16 corridors to include much of central Georgia as well. So if we're expecting high rain chances today, which we are, we can pretty much expect the same thing for Friday. So for that forecast for Friday, I wanted to try to get across the difference between the chance of storms and then the chance of washing out the whole day. If you remember back to last weekend, last Saturday, maybe you remember we had an 80% chance of rain across the entire area. Well, most areas that day did receive rain, but it wasn't a washout. It only occurred here and there throughout the day. So I kind of wanted to differentiate between the chance of storms and then the chance of a washout. For Friday, 60 to 80% chance of storms across the northern tier there, but only a 30 to 40% chance of washing out any of your festivities. It looks like there will be rain any part of the day, especially during the afternoon and evening, but you could get some in the morning as well, but these will be passing showers and storms, so there will be clear periods in there as well. To the south, a little bit drier air, so 40 to 60% chance of storms, so still a good chance down there, but only a 10 to 20% of it being a washout. Looks like those storms will be in and out through the day, and then especially during the afternoon and evening hours. So without further ado, let's get to the July 4th festivities on Saturday. You remember the moisture map that I was showing you showed all wet, pretty much all for north and central Georgia. A little bit different for Saturday. Still, from Atlanta Metro northward, unfortunately, we still have that wet bullseye in place. The difference is going to be over central Georgia, where I do indicate drier conditions. Now, I have drier in quotation marks because even though it will be drier, we'll still have enough to fuel storms for development. It just won't be as much as we've seen today and Friday. But the key area to be watching is going to be that North Georgia corridor. So we've established that the moisture is in place to fuel these storms for development. But what we're also going to be looking for as we move into Saturday is the energy to fuel these storms. Now, when we combine the moisture with the energy, then we really get good chances of rain. And we can see, unfortunately, again, we have the most energy riding over North Alabama and then into North Georgia, which is in that same area, if you recall, where we had the highest moisture content. So the area with the moisture is going to be the area with the best upper energy, which will fuel these storms for development. So with that, with the higher moisture content and the upper energy coming across, I have a little bit higher chances on Saturday from the Atlanta Metro northward. We're going to have anywhere from a 70 to 90% chance of storms. So chance of storms is going to be quite high. Any part of the day, even during the morning hours, you could see a shower or storm pass by. Now, it's not going to mean that it's going to be one of those rain all day type of events. Some areas will see more rain than others, and it'll seem like a washout. So we're only putting the washout at 40 to 50% right now. That's higher than what we will see on Friday, but a 70 to 90% chance of storms. So you'll see storms in and out throughout the day for sure. And then as for the July 4th festivities and any fireworks show you might be going to, there's still going to be high rain chances out there, and you'll just have to get lucky in order to miss some of those. So I guess the one bright side in having all the rain is that it will keep the temperatures down across the area, at least across North Georgia, all across that I-85, I-20 on the west side corridor and northward. We're going to be looking at temperatures that are some 5 degrees below normal. Temperatures in the mountains, in some cases, not getting out of the 70s, and then remaining in the lower to perhaps mid-80s from the Atlanta metro northward there. Looking across central Georgia, though, certainly higher temperatures, not as much rain down there, and then getting into the lower 90s down there with higher heat indices as well, making it feel a lot hotter. So I know this is a lot of information to throw at you for this July 4th weekend, so I was hoping to simplify it here with this little chart here. Maybe this will help you out a little bit, I don't know. But for North Georgia, looking at the threat index, and this would be north of the Atlanta metro, we're looking at, for storms, going to be a high chance of those. Just no way to get around that. We're going to have a high likelihood of seeing storms throughout the day. Washout, only looking at a medium threat right now. It's still higher than you would want for a July 4th weekend, but can't say for certain right now, especially with the timing of things, whether it's going to be a washout or not. Severe, we're going to have some severe storms out there. Risk is looking like a medium risk right now. Damaging winds and hail would be our primary threats with those, but anytime we have these large outdoor functions, lightning is certainly going to be a concern as well. And then the heat, it's going to be down a little bit for this time of year. This is the heat indice right now, what it's going to feel like, generally around 84 to anywhere from 83 to 86, let's say, for a range across extreme North Georgia. So going to bring the temperatures down a little bit with that rainfall, but it's still going to feel muggy out there. As we get into the metro region, again, high chances of storms, almost as much as we see in extreme North Georgia, probably looking at 70% at least, and those values may go up as we get closer to Saturday. Medium chances, again, for it being a washout, less than what you would see over extreme North Georgia, but still there are going to be some areas they're just going to get storm after storm coming across during the day on Saturday. Severe potential the same, pretty much for the entire area, with winds and hail the primary concerns, but also lightning. Heat, again, 5 degrees below normal, but going to feel like temperature with the humidity is going to be around 88 for the heat indice. That puts us in the low to medium range for this time of year. And then for central Georgia, a little bit different down there. Storms, not quite as prevalent. So we're looking at the coverage right there at a medium for the storms. That's that 40 to 60% range. And then washout, looking at a low risk of that. There may be some areas that really get hit hard, and then we're going to have to watch and see how this evolves over the next several days to make sure some of the activity from the north doesn't sneak into central Georgia as well. But for right now, we're looking at generally low chances of it being a washout the entire day. Severe chances, as I said before, the same across the entire area, so still a threat of damaging winds and hail and lightning. And then the heat indices going to be pushing it close to 100 down over central Georgia, 95 to 99, and that's because we won't see quite as much rainfall and we have more time for that sunshine and heat to build during the afternoon. Finally, for Sunday, I know we have some activities that are going to stretch all the way through the weekend into Sunday. That wet region, the area with the most moisture to fuel the storms, is actually going to slip a little bit southward. So it may be central Georgia that has the highest rain chances, and then North Georgia may get a little bit of a break. Again, this would be drier in quotation marks across North Georgia because we'll still have enough to fuel storms. It just won't be quite as much as we've seen the last few days. So I know we've been hitting this message hard that North Georgia is going to get round after round of these showers and thunderstorms coming through each day, and in fact that rainfall is going to add up. Looking at 4 inches across southern Tennessee, and in fact some of that swath may enter into extreme northwest Georgia over the next 3 days. Generally, though, we're going to see anywhere from a 2 to 3 inch rainfall from the metro on northward over the next 3 days. If it spreads out enough, we should be okay, but still, with that amount of rain, we could expect some minor flooding issues along some of the area creeks and streams and rivers across North Georgia. Also, those normally prone areas to flooding, we'll be watching those as well. So in summary, for this weekend, storms, yes. Washout, more likely to the north. Still only looking at about a 40 to 50% chance up there, so may not want to cancel your plans just yet, but unfortunately it looks like some of you will see those multiple rounds of storms coming across you both Friday, Saturday, and then lesser chances for North Georgia on Sunday moving into central Georgia. Low confidence on timing at this point, but high on overall storm development. The storms will be out there, just not sure whether it's going to be more in the late morning or more in the afternoon and evening. And then we'll be watching for the potential for localized flooding concerns over North Georgia as we get multiple rounds of storms coming across. So with that, hope you have a safe and happy 4th of July weekend, and hope you stay dry.